Welcome to the Kentucky Line. I'm Matt.
And I'm Clifton, and so we're coming to you after, unfortunately, um, another just disappointing loss, making three in a row for Kentucky. This one on the Plains to Auburn, losing 75-74 in a game that really, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to go, but ultimately it just felt like the Cats kind of gave it away. And I'm sure we're going to get into all of the controversies and things, but it was just it was difficult to watch, Matt. So, just what were some of your initial thoughts on the game?
It was a lot of frustrating thoughts through going through my mind over it. Uh, but I think this team, this Kentucky team, is just seems to not get it.
Yeah,
You know, this first of all, I think Auburn is not very good, and so that was frustrating in itself. Them losing five games coming into that to our game, but I thought there were a few different things that we can kind of talk about. One is just our inability to uh, make the plays that have to be made uh,
yeah,
to win. Um, there's just a million different things with this game that was frustrating. I thought the first half uh, we got a seven point lead, I think, at that point in the first half, and uh, gave it away, and
yep,
and we were able to get the lead back at the half, and I don't think either team was playing really good. Kentucky just was. They were able to get the lead, and when they got that 9 point lead, I was thinking, well, okay, let's let's try to steal this one here because we still weren't playing very good, and
right.
and then kind of the wheels fell off, and we went on one of those another scoring slumps and lulls where we scored like two field goals in 10 minutes, and just had some collapses and key points, key plays that really needed to be made. We just didn't get it done.
Yeah. Well, and I think that all comes, back to why you see these long stretches in nearly every game at this point against any quality competition uh, that you you can't score, and it's because we don't have a true point guard. I mean, as hard as Aberdeen played down the stretch, you got to have to kind of give him kudos for that. And as much as he's improved, he's not a true point guard. At best, he's a combination guard, um, but we don't have anybody that can really initiate the offense. Our best players tend to be kind of isolationist, and they're not ones that's going to set up anybody or make anybody else around them better or get them open looks, and it just makes it really tough. I think every single person on the team has serious flaws, and that's kind of to be expected in a team like this. Um, but I don't know. It was just like you said, so frustrating. And let's go ahead and get into some of those. I mean, and I just want to fast forward to the second half because, like you said, the first half I thought just followed one of two scripts that we've seen in these type of games for Kentucky. Either we didn't fall behind in this one, we actually got out to a pretty good start, and then it just like the switch turned off and we became a different team for a few minutes. And before you know it, we were kind of in a hole against a team that we shouldn't be in. Um, but then when you get to the second half, I just thought, I mean, I hate to say it, but Colin Chandler, man, that was as tough a half as I've seen from him in his entire career. And one, honestly, I didn't think he was capable of having right now. And it wasn't so much that he was just playing bad. I felt like he really got in his own head and was really struggling there for a while.
Yeah, I thought Colin Chandler uh, played uh, as bad as you could play for about a 5 or 6 possession stretch, and the problem was it was all like it seemed like it was consecutive. It may
Mm-hmm.
not have been consecutive, but it sure seemed like there was about 6 out of 8 plays where he absolutely just killed us.
Yeah.
Um, and he, it was just the, that 10-second call that he got.
Yeah.
He's just, again, we've talked about this before, but the lack of getting the ball up the floor, he gets it taken from him almost. The guy reaches in and he loses the ball. He's able to get it, and then he just throws this lazy pass as
Mm-hmm.
if nobody's guarding him to get it across half court, and there's a turnover. He makes 2 consecutive turnovers on each wing trying to feed the post.
Yeah.
He drives it in and loses it, and that was a turnover. He didn't shoot the ball well. He just didn't play well at all, and that stretch really uh, hurt us uh, as far as Auburn getting serious momentum and taking the lead.
Mm-hmm. And 5 turnovers in the second half, and you referenced them. Those 2 passes where he tried to force the ball to Marino when clearly it wasn't there, and if it's going to be there at all, you're going to have to put a little zip on it. And I thought he even made a couple more passes that very easily could have been intercepted and been turnovers.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It was just lazy pass after lazy pass, and I'm just not sure what the issue was there with him. But he was struggling in the second half to a point where Pope had to bring him out of the game. And honestly, we don't have anybody that you can consistently put in for him. Trent Noah came in, didn't score anything, but I did think he at least provided effort in not turning the ball over consistently, and he had some big rebounds. I thought he played hard, but he just has limitations. He is who he is at this point.
Right.
I don't expect that to change this season. Jasper Johnson showed in the first half this was not a game you could play him, and so that's really the only people you can sub in for Colin Chandler. And so we just become very limited. And when he was playing like that, you knew essentially we're playing, at best 4-on-5, and at times it was worse than that. And then I guess the next one has to be Brandon Garrison.
Oh, well,
I
my,
know he's your favorite.
yeah, I'll tell you. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, before we get into Garrison, just real quick, I thought Aberdeen, with Chandler being out the way he was and not playing well, Aberdeen and Oweh, I thought really did honestly step up huge
Oh yeah,
for us. I mean, I thought they played down the stretch; they were amazing, and obviously the only reason that we had a chance to win because we didn't have anybody else who were going to help us at all offensively. But then you've got Brandon Garrison, who I tell you, it's just he just does not get it, man.
no,
The guy is he's just not very good, and I know that there are different plays that can happen in a full game, and not one play kills you, loses the game for you. Although I think some plays do a lot more to lose it for you than others. One of that is Brandon Garrison missing a 1 foot layup
yeah,
straight straight under the goal. That really, if he makes, we probably win the game.
yeah,
And minus the bad call that we'll get to here in a little bit. But so I mean, you're 6'10", you've got a wide open. I mean, there's nobody around you. He could have come down with the ball and gone up and dunked it. There was nobody around him, but yet he just kind of gets the rebound and flicks it up on the rim, and
yeah,
just like like he's just out for a little, hanging out, at the house, not no sense of, hey, I need to probably make this. I mean, it was just the most lazy. Oh,
he's just really casual at times, and it
yeah,
really
just
kills me.
yeah, exactly. He's just his casualness of the whole thing, and then on the last play, defense, he doesn't put a body on anybody.
Yep.
He doesn't get a. I thought he could have gotten the first rebound. He doesn't block anybody out.
Yeah.
He's sitting there watching instead of trying to find somebody to put a body on, especially at that guy at that point in the game. And I just he wears me out.
Yeah. I mean, to me, you summed up the two perfectly there, and they almost come nearly back to back. You have the missed layup that like you said, would have sealed the game. I mean, you hate to say it, but a missed 1-footer, you end up losing by one. Obviously, there's a difference there. And then, after the call, um, you still have a chance to win. You have, good teams, especially teams that these guys are all experienced outside of Malachi Marino. They've played a lot of basketball, even though this is Yelovich's first year in college. He's played a lot of ball. Every single one of them that's getting minutes now has, at least 2 full seasons under their belt. And, you know, it's just casualness. Like you said, there's times he's super aggressive and he'll hustle as much as anybody, and there's times it's just like he's not there. And to have, to force a bad shot, and then not even that it wasn't just one thing. He didn't box out. That's strike one. But then to make matters worse, doesn't even move. He doesn't reach for
Mm-mm.
the ball. He doesn't jump. I mean, he literally just stands there, lets a guy get it from behind him, and put it back. There's no contest on it. There is absolutely no movement. Like, I don't even know if Garrison saw what happened. Like, his back was to him. Never. I don't even know if he's looking at the ball. But it was just frustrating. I think it kind of summarized. And I just heard people talk today about how frustrating of a player he is, and I think what makes it worse is because you see flashes with Garrison. You
Mm-hmm.
see what he can be, and just but when it's not there, man, it's really bad. And well, I guess that gets us to the big one. You know, we talked about Colin Chandler. We talked about the turnovers and the poor shooting in the second half, but ultimately it's the call that I guess a lot of people will talk about and they'll remember for a long while. Kentucky's up one, side out play again, not running anything, just kind of isolation and running no screens. They're trying to get the ball clearly to Chandler, and he's called for a push off. Now, to me, it is obviously a pretty bad call, not just because he did push off, and it's been told to death in the media, but this was a physical game. Things like that weren't called the entire night, and to call it the last 5 seconds of the game is unacceptable. The officials all the way across the court, that's unacceptable. But more importantly, if you're going to call that kind of contact, he was being held before he pushed off.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because that was going to be my first point. First of all, here's the thing: when you look at that thing at that play in slow motion, it's like, yeah, Chandler pushed off. Well, he kind of did, but when somebody's holding on to you, I mean,
Yes.
the guy was grabbing him. Okay, so you're going to kind of push, create a little bit of space, but when he did, as soon as Chandler touched him, he flops. And so it made
Yes.
it even look like Chandler pushed off a lot more than he really did.
Yes.
Chandler didn't really go in there and just drill him. He was just kind of doing what everybody does on a play like that all the time.
Yeah.
But
You're kind of trying to get separation, and it's
yeah,
not even like a push off. It's just when he flopped backwards, it's like the resistance left, and his
yes, he
arm just
flopped.
kind of
That's
pushed
right.
out.
He flopped backwards, and as he did, Chandler's arms kept going forward
Yeah.
because there was nothing to resist him. And so
Yes.
in slow motion, it really looks like he pushed off more than he did. Anybody who's played basketball at all knows the offensive guy. That's just when a defensive guy's on you like that, you just kind of because the guy's holding you.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's holding you. You've got to and so it was a horrible call. I don't, did he push off a little bit? Well, probably. I
Yeah.
don't think it was enough. It definitely was enough to throw the guy onto his back on the floor.
Especially,
Um,
he'd been fouled first. You have to
yeah,
call that first foul.
considering the guy was holding on, grabbing him, Chandler didn't push off so much that he um, uh, warranted the guy to fall on his back. But with all that said, Chandler's got to know better.
Yep.
He's got to know the situation. He has to. And when that guy's holding him, that's when Chandler needs to try to create the foul for
Yep.
himself
Kind of
rather
throw
than
the arms up.
trying to instead of pushing off when that guy's grabbing him, exaggerate that
Yes.
a little bit, and maybe you get the foul. And I get it. It's just instinct. So I don't want to kill him over that because you know it's just one of those plays in basketball that guys do all the time. But the guy flopped, and the ref fell for it. And the wrong ref. The two refs that were right there didn't even call anything.
Yep.
I mean, the guy, the ref holding the ball that on the inbounds, and the other ref on the same side of the floor didn't do a thing. You've got the guy that had his that first of all couldn't even see Chandler's arms because he was
Yep.
blocked by the defender. It was just so it was a horrible call, and it probably cost us the game. And I know there are a whole lot of things that go on in a game, but when there's 10 seconds left and you got a 1 point lead and you get a call like that, it probably could cost you the game. And
Yep.
and that's what you just hate to see that.
Yeah, you do. But ultimately, it, I think without question, it does cost you the game. Because regardless, if you go down there and if you miss both free throws, at least they're on the other end of the court. There's some time that's came off, and you're probably going to force them into just kind of a prayer three from about 30 foot. And so, but I don't know. It's just I have a really hard time knowing, even with that, there's multiple things. Any one of which
Yeah,
happen, Kentucky still wins.
absolutely.
Unfortunately, two of them involve Brandon Garrison. But I think there's, like I said, there's blame to go around for Pope. I mean, why run an isolation play there? Why not, set some kind of screen, you know, kind of rub a guy off somebody's shoulder and get a man free. Don't put him in a position to where someone's even allowed to hold him.
Hmm.
Create some space, get some motion. Don't start there just, kind of chest to chest and we're going to, what's going to happen. Somebody's going to push off and somebody's going to try to hold. Create space, make it easier for your guys. So I think there's a lot of, finger pointing could be done there, but ultimately Kentucky loses a game to a team that we've said this last time. It's almost, we said before, I told you Auburn kind of reminded me of Georgia. I'm ending this game feeling much the same way. We lost to a team that's not very good, and ultimately I think it's because we're probably not very good either. Auburn now 15-12. They would have been 14-13. They're still below 500 in SEC. They had lost 5 straight games before this one, and ultimately, there's no excuses. You cannot, if you're going to be any sort of team that Kentucky wants to be, and to me, there never should be a time where a Kentucky team loses a game like this
Yeah.
against a team that's just not very good, with a first-year coach. And and here's the thing, Matt, they're looking at a game just like that again tomorrow night.
Hmm.
South Carolina's not very good. You're on the road again. Uh, so what are you going to do? They just beat. They just won a game. They had lost. Quite a few in a row. They have but they've kind of broke that win streak. They're playing a little better. They have athletes. So ultimately, you go in there a favorite. I think it's 5.5 points. What it opened this evening.
Well, they've got nothing to lose. Number one,
Yeah.
and so we just write it down. They're going to come out. South Carolina probably isn't a very good shooting team. They're going to come out and probably make everything,
Yep.
and we're going to have to withstand a run from them, and but we've got to come out and on the defensive end tomorrow, and we have got to play with the intensity and effort that we have shown at times this year against a team that's not very good to keep ourselves from getting in a hole at a bad South Carolina.
Yep.
And you know, and we've just got to find a way to win. And I tell you, I I have zero confidence. I mean, we
None.
should win the game. We
Should.
should win the game. I do think we're a better team than South
Yeah.
Carolina. All that, but I have zero confidence that we're going to go down there and win. I just and I've said that. I feel like I say that a lot, but uh, uh, it's true. I just don't, because we just seem to uh, lose our minds in times we're up when we're up big. We can't sustain a lead to save our lives,
Hmm.
um, or we get down eight or nine, and we're fighting to win, and it's just listen, tomorrow. Obviously, I mean, to say that it's a must win is almost laughable at this point,
Yeah.
because
You
that's
just lost two must wins.
yeah, because we just lost to, but we've got to win that game tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you're going in, like I said, to South Carolina, and it's a game that, well, it is a must win because let's set it up. You have a tough schedule following this,
Real
and
tough.
so ultimately, I think, can you find a way to win? Just, I don't know. I think 2-2 is probably best case scenario the way this team's playing. I think probably 1-3 is the most likely. Um, and this is ultimately it. I think, if Kentucky wins this game, I think for the most part, they're just barring, a lot of bid stealers and laying an egg here or there, they're probably going to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that that's even a bar that we're talking about is ridiculous, but they're probably going to make the tournament. If you lose this game and then you go in, you have no confidence you're going to win any of the next three, and then it's a real shot you don't make the tournament. So yeah, this is a must win. Uh, South Carolina's led by a 6-year senior, a name that you're going to know, and uh, just has one of those feeling he'll probably score 25 plus. Michi
Oh yeah,
Johnson.
I was gonna say Michi. Just write it down. Michi's going off tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. So he on the season is averaging, let's see, 33.3% from three, 42% field goal shooter. So nothing to write home about. He turns the ball over. He does have quite a few assists. He's just a ball dominant guard. He's kind of their offense. But ultimately, it just feels like the way we're playing, you're going to be sick of hearing about him. And like I said, he's been there 6 years. So,
I think you got to
uh,
put Oweh on him. I
yeah,
think, and I don't know that he will. He may put Aberdeen, but I feel like I think this is a perfect game for Oweh, to put Oweh on him and let his offense feed off of his defense, and hopefully we can, get down there, get the job done, because like I said, we're a better team
yeah,
than South Carolina is. We
yeah.
need to go down there and win the ball game.
No excuses. Go win. And Oweh, outside of really the Florida game, for the last 2 months, Oweh has been playing fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Back
he's been
back to
awesome.
back games, if I'm not mistaken, where he set career highs. I believe he had 28 and then 29, and really just nobody else showed up for him outside of Aberdeen a little bit this last game. But this is one, like you said, you kind of tell him, you're a leader. We're in a bad way. Shut this guy down and you go take care, you handle things. And because they have nobody that can guard him either.
That's right. And one thing I want to say about Oweh as well is, he has been, like you said, outside of the Florida game, but everybody's going to have an off game every now and then. But I think he's been about as consistent as you could ask
Yep.
for any player uh, in the conference. I mean, I know a lot of times we talked about earlier in the season, we don't have this Kentucky team doesn't have a star. This Kentucky, well, if 28 and 29 and 24 and 22 and 23 and 25, if that ain't enough, if you know, that's a star, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, you know, that's somebody that's getting the job done as good as anybody in the conference. So he has lived up. His, in conference play, mind you,
Yep.
he's lived up to what I think we had hoped he was going to be for us this year.
Yeah.
The,
I don't think anybody can say Oweh's not like a honestly look and say Oweh's not a college star. He is phenomenal. I think what you miss with Oweh is like I feel like 28, 29, 30. That's probably top end. Oweh's probably never going to go for a 40, for a 45. Uh, but Oweh is that perfect college player as a senior. Lock a guy down. If you had somebody else, like a young guy that could give you Oweh's production to pair with him, then you're running.
yeah.
But we don't have that, and ultimately, with 4 games left in the season, there is plenty of time that we're going to get to talk about this offseason about what went wrong, what's going wrong. But Oweh's been fantastic. I don't think, regardless, you have to kind of tip your cap to him. The way the season started in the offseason when he was struggling, there were some fans really, you know, piling on him, and rightfully so at times. I thought you could question his effort. That's
Hmm.
not been the case since we've got into 2026 and the conference season started.
Right, and I also want to say I know I have you know kind of piled on Colin Chandler for his game the other night, and he played all worst game he's played
Yeah,
maybe at UK, but going into that Auburn game, he was shooting 48% from the
right.
3 point line in conference play,
Yeah,
and
nobody's above a bad game.
and you know what, and that kind of speaks to we don't have any shooters on this team. Well, 48% is pretty dang good, if you ask me. I just think we had developed, you know, he's he shot the ball well, um, consistently. What did he make? Have 2 games in a row where he had five threes,
Yeah,
something like that. And I feel like we have some of the, we just don't have. We're just uh, missing the point guard. I think hurts us. Aberdeen's
yes.
done. I think Aberdeen has done as good as you could ask of him.
Oh,
To be
yeah.
honest with you,
Yeah,
but
that's not what he signed up for.
we're missing that kind of guy that can get into the lane and really be a playmaker. You know, um, and and I think I mean, as good as Malachi Moreno is at times, sometimes he just gets a little in his youth comes to get him sometimes, and we're missing a guy like Quaintance. That I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, just think about the Auburn game and that cat that had his career high. If Jaden
Hmm.
Quaintance is on the floor guarding him, that ain't happening.
No, that's true.
It ain't.
And,
It is not happening.
and there's also, you can think about it in like this. It was almost worst case scenario this Auburn game was for Kentucky, just because I was reading a stat that it surprised me, so I'm sure it will surprise other people. Going into the game, Kentucky had hit the most threes of any team in the conference, and Auburn had given up more threes than anybody in the conference. Ultimately, it's just the night the only guy you could depend on was cold, and he's deserved that. If you've shot 48% on the season, you're entitled to an off night. Unfortunately, it just came against a team when nobody else.
Well,
We
nobody
needed
else.
somebody else.
Well, there was a stretch. I know you remember this because if you watched the game, it drove you nuts. But in the first half, there was a stretch where we had about 6 or 7 straight, or not straight, but pretty quick, 6 or 7 wide open threes and we missed them all.
Yep.
We missed them all. Um, you know, just good shots, and we missed every one of them.
Yep.
And Trent Noah misses 2 wide open threes. Um, Chandler missed 2 or 3 wide open ones. Aberdeen missed. We just wasn't falling for us. And we still should have won the game. The fact of the matter is, we still should have won the game. Um, we do a. I mean, that lay. I still want to know how Garrison missed that layup. I don't know how he missed it. Um, I mean, it's just that's the kind of stuff that uh, just drives you crazy. But listen, man, we know what we got to do. South Carolina is the worst team in the conference,
Yep. By far.
and our back is against the wall.
Hmm.
We need to go make it happen down there. get the win, and then you know what? We got Vandy at home. Let's beat them too.
Yeah, yeah. There's no doubt about it. Well, let's go ahead and transition in to some high school sports. District tournaments for the girls in the 13th region started tonight. I don't have any score updates as of yet, but I thought, Matt, what we could do maybe is starting with the girls here. Let's give our predictions for maybe a champion and runner up for each district to kind of set the stage for who's going to be in that. Ultimately in the 13th region uh, tournament. So let's go ahead and start maybe with that 50th district down your neck of the woods. South Laurel, Williamsburg, Corbin, Whitley County. That's the girls' bracket. Who you got coming out of there? And then I don't know. I guess if there's if I have any different predictions, then I'll let it be known.
All right. Well, for the girls, I think it'll be South Laurel. Uh, they'll win them tonight. I think, and only because it's at home. I think the Corbin girls will win to get to the finals. Um, Corbin and Whitley split this year, uh, and both won on each other's home. I mean, on their own home court, and so I'm going to say Corbin wins that tonight, but then South Laurel will win the district, and Corbin runner up.
Yeah, that's kind of my prediction. I think this region kind of for the last few years, it's been those Laurel County schools have really kind of dominated. So I think it's the same. South, I'll say South win, and then Corbin. All right, let's go then to the 51st. Also starting tonight, Knox Central and Lincoln, and then Pineville and Barberville.
Well, I think Knox Central wins that one, and honestly, I probably have to go with Pineville to beat Barberville, and then Knox Central to win it all.
I'm gonna say Knox Central wins it. I'm gonna call a maybe um, mild upset by seed wise. Barville Pineville played. Pineville won at home. The only time they played this year. Um, well, no, I take that back. They played twice. They played in the All A and the one time in the regular season. But they won by 1 point at home, and then they won by 6 at Lynn Camp in the All A. I think that third time is going to get them, and I'm going to say Barville slide upset comes out of it for the girls. Then let's go to the uh, next. We got the 52nd here, I guess. Uh, and so that's going to be Bell County, Harlan County, Middlesboro.
Is so who's the one seed?
Bell County.
Okay. Yeah, I think Bell's going to come out of that uh, uh, district. I think they win, and I think the runner up. I don't know. I think I'll go Middlesboro. Let's go
Yep.
then.
All right. So I think I'll go Harlan County, Bell County winning. I think ultimately in that district, there's some young teams there. Bell County has some experience led by, I think, Lamb. Just she's a big center that has just really had a tremendous season. And then that gets us actually around to the 49th and saved them for last because North Laurel potentially right there with South for the favorites. I think most people, that's probably the prediction who's going to win one of those two teams. So North plays OBI, Clay County plays Jackson County. I'm assuming you have North winning it.
Yes, yeah, I have North winning it.
Okay, and what about coming out in that? I guess that's
I'll have.
Jackson or Clay.
I think Clay.
Yep.
I think Clay will win that one. Will be the
Yep.
runner up.
I'm in agreement. So, well, let's start with for the boys, 49th. You have Redbird in there as well. But last year that the 49th will be, for at least the time being, will be seeded. I'm assuming North Laurel and Clay County. Is that your picks?
Yes, yeah, for sure. North should win that district, and Clay will be the runner up. That should be a pretty easy one.
Yep. And well, this gets us to an intriguing one. I think the 50th district, Whitley County and Williamsburg. Williamsburg, I mean, hate to say it, they're really struggled this season. Maybe the worst team in the region. But South Laurel and Corbin kind of playing for that second and third seed game really is a tremendous game, I think. So who you think wins that one?
Well, Corbin won both games this year. But and like I said, district is at Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
I expect this to be a very, very close game.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe, even though it's the third time, I think Corbin is going to edge them out. I think it's some matchup issues. Even though neither team is really all that good,
Mm-hmm.
they've both struggled this year. I think Corbin will win it.
Yeah, I
Win that
agree with
one.
that. That was going to be my pick as well. I think Corbin, and it just feels like they're playing maybe a little better as of late. Um, you know, and so ultimately, I think they're going to be the runner-up to Whitley County. All right, gets us to the 51st. Knox Central, the one seed. This is at Knox Central, playing Lynn Camp, and then Barberville and Pineville in what has the potential to be a good game. And so I do have a little bit of information there. Barberville beat Pineville. I think we're all in agreement Knox will probably win the district.
Yeah,
Uh, but Barberville beat Pineville twice. Both times were about 15-ish. I'm going to say, I don't have the scores right in front of me. I do know Logan Stepp, Barberville's leading scorer. He's just had a tremendous senior season. He's a transfer from Bell County, who'd set out last year at Bell and didn't play, but transfers to play senior year at Barberville. He rolled his ankle. He's not played the last two regular season games. I know it's a pretty bad sprain. I know how badly he wants to get to region, but I think whether or not he plays is going to be crucial. I know Logan personally. I know he's a tough kid. I'm going to say he plays and Barberville wins for me.
yeah. Well, I didn't know that, but if he plays, I think Barberville will get the win and get to go to region.
Yep. And well, ultimately, I guess that gets the last one. Bell County and Middlesboro, Harlan County and Harlan City. This is another one of those. I think Bell's the clear-cut favorite. Nobody really should be close to him, even though Harlan County played them pretty close just a couple weeks ago. And then, but Harlan County and Harlan City has the potential to be a pretty good game there. I'll take Harlan County. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I think that Harlan game is an interesting one. I think Harlan has a chance to sneak up and win that one, but I think Harlan County will and inevitably win that one.
Yep. Me too. Well, next week we will talk to you later this week about this South Carolina game. Hopefully, coming off a big win for the Cats. We'll also have some updated scores and regions should be taking shape. And then by the time we come back and do this 1 week from today, we may actually do it on Sunday. We should have the draws Sunday afternoon. We should know what those region tournaments are going to look like. Should be set up for really good games. I think you have two good teams at the top of both the boys and the girls. I think everybody just wants to see good region championships and, have a quality team go represent the 13th region in the Sweet 16. But anything before we hop off here, Matt?
No, hopefully that they both of the top teams in the girls and boys will draw opposite sides of the bracket. I think
Yep.
that'll make for a better regional tournament, and so I'm hoping that happens. But other than that, hey, as far as the Cats go, tomorrow night we just got to go down there and get her done.
Yep, I feel like they're going to. The last few predictions have not went well for us, so I'm just going to leave that off tonight. Just hoping they go win, go take care of business, and we'll talk to everybody next time. Go Cats.
Go Cats.